Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome, my friends, to Halloween! Let's talk skeletons!
Yo.
You're a ghost, not a skeleton.
Whatever.
Skeletons can be pretty scary, as we found out last year.
One day you will meet your fate, and we will be waiting. No! Let me go!
And did you know, there's a skeleton right now, under your skin, just waiting to burst out. Creepy stuff. So, let's take a look at the cartoon episode, Skeletons in the Closet.
You know that the episode doesn't actually revolve around skeletons, don't you?
No?
Nope.
Damn it! Okay, so the episode begins with Destro, the Baroness, and a nameless female Cobra Trooper fleeing from a battle they've just lost. Always nice to get dropped right in the middle of a story, isn't it? During their escape, Destro even finds the time to flirt with the trooper, much to the delight of the Baroness. He assures her, though, that their time with Cobra is coming to an end, as he needs just one more big weapons deal so they can retire together. And we cut to Destro trying to do just that, selling weapons to an assortment of shady types. You know, it sorta reminds me of the Naked Gun opening. Destro's sales pitch is interrupted by the Joe team, though.
Not likely, G.I. Joe!
After him! We'll take care of these guys! You're all under arrest for illegal arms procurement.
You cannot arrest us! We have diplomatic immunity!
Of all the...
They're right. We can't arrest them.
Flint, I want you to know that Danny Glover is very disappointed in you right now.
Diplomatic immunity!
It's just been revoked.
Anyway, Destro is almost captured, but he does manage to escape thanks to the help of a mysterious woman.
Thank you, whoever you are.
Coverta Fatale.
Coverta Fatale. You know, it's quite an accomplishment when you make the names of women in frickin' Bond movies sound sophisticated by comparison.
Ugh. What exactly does any of this have to do with Halloween?
I'm getting to that. This is just a setup. Destro, of course, immediately starts flirting with, Coverta, even telling her that there's nothing between him and the Baroness.
She is but a confused creature with whom I have been erroneously linked.
Ouch, that's cold, dude. They go on a rooftop date where Destro explains why he wears a steel mask.
It has to do with an ancient family curse. Many years ago, one of my ancestors was convicted of witchcraft. Stop him!
Let me go!
He was forced to wear a mask over his face for the rest of his life. His descendants were so angered that they vowed to fight the forces of law and order forever. We shall all wear masks until law is sacrificed upon the altar of history.
He then tells her that they have a family reunion every year on the winter solstice. Back at G.I. Joe headquarters, Lady Jaye receives a letter with some exciting news.
After considerable effort, we have identified you as the last living heir of Dame Agatha Doyle. Please come at once to Loch Lomond in northern Scotland to lay claim to Doyle Manor. Sincerely, Clayton Oliver Nichols, Solicitor at Law.
While Flint thinks that something may be up, Lady Jaye still heads off to Scotland and takes possession of the house. A house that vaguely reminds me of Lovecraft's or Batman's Arkham Asylum. It might actually be based on those. They themselves were modeled on an actual insane asylum in Massachusetts. It looks exactly like you'd expect a haunted house to look. And sure enough...
Who are you?
I am the housekeeper, madam.
You startled me.
This is not a house for the timid, madam.
Don't tell me. It's haunted.
Some say. So beware. Never enter the north chamber. It be cursed.
See? That's spooky. Ergo, Halloween.
Fine.
Meanwhile, a mysterious stranger enters the nearby town, asking about the manor. Since the internet hadn't been invented yet, and this house doesn't seem to have a TV, or electricity for that matter, Lady Jaye starts investigating the place, in her sexy nightgown. Of course, because growing boys need that sort of thing too. She is startled when a ghost appears. Also, there's a freaking guillotine in the room for some reason. And this is her reaction. You know, I can't help but think that last year the Joe team was much more blasé when it came to ghosts. Despite that cowardly scream, she does go on investigating. She finds a hidden passage to the basement. And also, she finds skeletons. Literal interpretation of the title justified. She manages to get away from them and finds herself down in the basement, facing a meeting of furries? Most disturbing Halloween episode ever. These people in animal masks are worshipping an ancient creature in their well. And judging from the art on the stairway, that thing must be a great old one. Does this mean the great Cthulhu actually appears in G.I. Joe? Or at least something heavily inspired by Lovecraft? Let's find out!
Oh, creature of the deep!
That thing is your eldritch abomination? I'm sorry, but that thing does not inspire insanity-inducing fear, people! I mean, it looks like a freaking Pokemon! So, the guys with the animal heads are worshipping their eyeball tentacle thing. And there's a phrase you don't hear every day. When they spot Lady Jaye, they capture her. By the way, this scene is probably what clueless people think a Dungeons & Dragons session is like. Meanwhile, the mysterious stranger has worked his way to the manor and tackles the housekeeper, who is surprisingly limber for somebody with that build. And hey, they remember to use Chekhov's guillotine. Kudos! Meanwhile, Lady Jaye is to be sacrificed to the creature. Because of course she is. I'm guessing they're expecting her to laugh herself to death when she sees the damn thing. Seriously, it's about as scary as the guy haunting my apartment.
Hey!
Seemingly because I used up all my tentacle jokes last week, another mysterious stranger shows up and stops the proceedings to ask Lady Jaye how the hell she found out the Furry Tentacle Club was there. This guy turns out to be Destro, of course, because the manor is his ancestral home. Yeah, who didn't see that one coming? Destro, much like the audience, can believe it's just a coincidence, and dismisses the idea that he's related to a G.I. Joe. Not getting any answers he likes, he continues a sacrificing. Just then, the first mysterious stranger arrives, and it's his turn to interrupt. After a short scuffle, he rescues Lady Jaye, in the most undignified manner possible. To the shock of absolutely nobody, this guy turns out to be Flint, who followed Lady Jaye to Scotland because he was concerned. Or he's an obsessive stalker. You make the call. He gets on the horn to the rest of the Joes and he calls in the cavalry, as they try to escape from Destro and his petting zoo relatives. The Joe reinforcements show up only to be met by a battalion of Cobra troops. Cobra troops that appear just out of nowhere and really have no goddamn reason to be there. Except, well, we needed a battle scene and a unit of highly trained soldiers with guns against a bunch of weirdos using only medieval weapons wouldn't be much of a fight. Flint and Lady Jaye continue their escape, when, all of a sudden, giant spider out of freaking nowhere! See, now we're talking! Why couldn't that thing have been the unspeakable horror they were worshipping? Giant spiders are freaking awesome. I mean, just ask Tolkien or J.K. Rowling. Our time with the only actually scary monster is far too brief though, as it gets accidentally taken out by a missile barrage from outside. God damn it. Meanwhile, the huge firefight outside has taken its toll on the manor itself, as it gets set on fire. At the same time, Barbecue has made his way inside and has found a holographic projector that explains the ghost seen earlier. Using the machine, he manages to scare off Cobra and end the battle, but not before the entire manor is engulfed in flames. Destro has managed to get away, and in the morning laments the loss of his family home. If you've seen my Baroness review, you know what's coming next.
I arranged it all. I led the Joe agent here knowing this would be the result.
Baroness! But why?
Why? To make you pay for your unfaithfulness with that which you value most. Your ancestral home.
The Baroness also tells him that he is in fact related to Lady Jaye, according to the records anyway. That's a nice bit of canon that never ever gets mentioned again. And finally, the episode ends on an ominous note.
I hope you never learn what horror your actions may have caused.
Did that thing just fart? Yes, that was a fart. Lovecraft must be rolling over in his grave. So, that was Skeletons in the Closet. My conclusion, one word. Wasted potential.
That's 2 words.
Whatever. Look, there were a lot of good ideas in this episode, but they failed miserably in the execution. Exploring Destro's past and making his whole family a cult, that's a good idea. Putting them all in animal masks, bad idea. Especially since the original Destro and his namesake both wear iron masks. Having them worship an old one, good idea. Having said monster be about as scary as sushi, bad idea. Especially when they had a perfectly good spider right there. Then we come to Lady Jaye. Yeah, having her run around in her nightgown for most of the episode, while, I might add, having her cup size increased by several letters in certain shots, that's all just far too cliché for my liking. And of course, she had to be rescued by Flint. Yeah, this episode won't go down as a beacon of pride for feminism. Next, why the hell was that battalion of cobras there? They had no freaking reason to be at Destro's family fun time, especially since at the beginning of the episode, Destro said he wanted to quit Cobra. Finally, why did they feel the need to explain the ghosts as being holograms? We've already seen real ghosts in G.I. Joe, and the spider, nor tentacruel over there, were fake. I don't want to end on a negative note, and there are 1 or 2 good things to say. The Baroness, of course, was superb, and this was the most clever and vicious we've ever seen her in the cartoon. I also like a clever little bit at the beginning, when you listen to the lawyer's name.
Sincerely, Clayton Oliver Nichols, solicitor at law.
His initials spell the word con. That's a nice subtle hint. By the way, this episode gets a sequel of sorts in season 2 of the cartoon show. But that's a tale for another day, my friends. Maybe next Halloween, maybe sooner, maybe later. You'll have to wait and see. Now, what's on the schedule for next week? Oh God. Oh no. Oh God, no! Help me! Get me out of here!
and your bollocks did up good, you did.
That is your eldritch abomination? I'm sorry, but that does not inspire hallucination. It's the curse of the tentacle creature.